I am a licensed esthetician, and whenever I mention that I wax my face, I always get a bunch of questions on how I do it, the process. So here is a step-by-step tutorial for all my beginner face waxers. Here's some tips and tricks. Starting off, you always want to apply some toner like I am here. You can use witch hazel. It helps cleanse the skin of any excess sebum, sweat, or dirt that you may have on your face. After the toner, you can apply some baby powder or cornstarch to help soak up any excess oil. This is also going to help the hair removal process. I tried to get a close-up of my hairy face, but it's not translating on camera, but I do have a lot of excess facial hair. I have PCOS, so I have excess facial hair. I have my sideburns, I have my chin hair, my upper lip, and basically my whole face. This is currently the hard wax that I use. It is from Sexy Smooth Wax. I'm applying a little bit on my wrist to test the temperature. You always want to do a test patch on your wrist for the temperature. You do not want to apply scorching hot wax on your face. That is very dangerous. And when you apply wax, you always want to apply it in the direction of the hair growth. And when removing the wax, you always want to keep your skin taut and you want to pull in the opposite direction of the hair growth. You can do staggering pulls or you can do it all at once. And if you zoom in, you can see the fuzzy hair. I've personally seen a lot of people who wax their face and they sort of just apply the wax any which way. And doing so, you can really damage your skin. So I always tell people to remember to keep the skin taut and to pull in the opposite direction. To ease the pain, you can always apply some pressure. I also advise that before waxing, you do a patch test just to make sure that you're not allergic and you don't have any adverse reaction. I would also avoid exfoliating before waxing. It's because waxing does exfoliate your skin and you don't want to overwax because that can damage your skin barrier. It can cause irritation, redness, sensitivity. Speaking from experience, I overwaxed and it caused my skin barrier to weaken, and it took me about 2 months for it to go back to normal. You also want to avoid going over the same area more than twice. Sometimes we feel like we have to go over the same area more than once or twice because we're not picking up all the hair. And most times it's not the wax, it's not the temperature. It has more to do with the pressure that you're applying the wax. So you always want to apply a lot of pressure when applying the wax. That is going to help you pick up more hair and avoid you going over the same area twice or having to pluck. I also always recommend not using certain skincare products before waxing. I definitely would not use any vitamin A, retinols, retinoids, acne medication. And if you have acne, I would ask your dermatologist if it is wise for you to wax because it's really a hit or miss for some people. I know a lot of people that have acne like to shave their face. Personally, I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you have an active breakout, because you can spread the bacteria to other areas. But for anyone who does have acne, if I were to choose between waxing and shaving, I would probably do shaving. I would just be very careful with what I use, make sure to disinfect everything very well, and not shave over active breakouts. Also, I've seen in a lot of waxing videos, there's a debate going on whether shaving causes hair to grow back thicker. Some people say that it causes hair to grow back thicker, some people say that it doesn't, and honestly, it depends on the person. It depends a lot on why you have excess hair. It could be a hormonal imbalance, you can have PCOS, you could have hirsutism. Hair doesn't necessarily grow back thicker, it's just growing back from the thickest part of the hair follicle, which is the shaft. I used to shave my face and it used to cause a lot of irritation, a lot of redness, and I also used to cut myself, but this was also before I went to esthetician school and learned how to do it properly. But personally, I do like waxing more than shaving. When the hair grows back, it doesn't look as thick because it's not growing from the shaft, and I don't get as irritated as I do when I shave. Usually I wax about once a week, and in between, when I feel like hair is growing on my upper lip or my eyebrows, I thread. When you are a beginner waxer, you always want to wax your face in smaller sections. I like using smaller waxing sticks just so that I can get closer to my eyebrows without removing too much hair, which I have done a lot. Now that I have more experience, I still use smaller wax sticks, but I do bigger areas. Once you get used to waxing and once you learn how to pick up the right amount of wax, you can get closer to the eyebrows without any issue. And right here, this is my second wax application. I'll do smaller sections at first, and then my second time around, I will do one large section. My favorite thing about this wax is the fact that it dries down very quickly, which makes waxing a lot easier. Also, the second time around, what I like to do is do staggered pulls. It helps remove the rest of the hair that I have on my face that I didn't get the first time. As I remove it, I'm removing it once again in the opposite direction of hair growth, and I am keeping skin taut. It does hurt at first, and honestly, it's not completely painless even though I'm used to it now, but applying pressure does help a lot. One thing I would say and I would advise is not to apply wax under the eye or above the eyelid. I would strictly keep it right below the eyebrow. I wouldn't do it on the upper eyelid just because the skin there is a bit more sensitive. And typically when I do wax, I do try to get over with it because I hate having to spend so much time waxing. I apply wax in different areas and I let them dry at the same time, and then I remove them. It can be time consuming at first, but once you get used to it, you can probably get it done in less than 20 minutes. After waxing, you always want to tone your face. A lot of the times when people break out after waxing is because they don't close their pores and they don't tone their face. When you leave your pores open, you leave your skin vulnerable to bacteria, dirt. I also recommend not applying makeup right afterwards just to avoid clogging your pores. And if you have sensitive skin like I do, you can apply some aloe vera to help calm and cool the redness and your skin. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye!